Did you find the process of finding 10 photos difficult or easy?
I found the process of picking 10 photos very difficult.
So, welcome to the latest edition of Street Badass 10. I have here Sarah Simon, member of Street Badass Dirty Dozen, as well as the newly formed Rico GR Women. So, welcome, Sarah. I appreciate you coming on the 10. How are you this evening?
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you having me on. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Hey, so let me ask you before we look at the 10, did you find the process of finding 10 photos difficult or easy? I've been asking people that.
I found the process of picking 10 photos very difficult. I think I'm I'm going through a phase in my photography as an artist where I'm being very self-critical, I guess, maybe shifting my own style and what I want to do. So looking back at my old photos, it's like I didn't want to really pick anything to
You
talk
didn't wanna
about
use any of
now.
the old ones, you wanted a new
I
broom
wasn't
sweeps
in
queen?
love. I wasn't in
Okay.
love or excited about my old stuff, but that doesn't mean it sucks. It doesn't mean that I was a bad photographer at the time. It just my own process I'm going through right now.
So do you think that the 10 might change depending on
Tomorrow?
when well, it could be tomorrow
Yes.
or you know what I mean, like, so these
Yeah,
are the 10 that we have right now for today, but maybe the 10 that you would pick maybe in a month might be slightly different?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's fair. Alright, let's take a look at the first one here, see if we can get it up. Alright, so I'm gonna make that just a little bit bigger. One moment.
All right. So, I
What can you
took
tell us
this.
about this? I'm sorry, Sarah. What can you tell us about this photo right here?
This was taken in Grand Central Station. I had just gotten off the train into New York from Connecticut, and I was on my way to meet some street photographers to go to the Pride Parade. And it was like 100 degrees, it was super hot. In Grand Central, when you get off the trains on this platform, it's like stinky and sweaty and hot.
Sticky.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like the air is so thick. It's just like, it's disgusting. And it's just, there's just like this whole mood in that location. And I got off and there were these people walking in front of me. And I don't know, they just had like this mood, this energy. They were about to go to Pride, and I don't know, I loved the nakedness, I loved the message, I loved it was all just like an exciting kind of, there was a lot going on at the time. So I
I
just whipped
think
out my
that
camera.
so and this was you in the beginning going to Pride, right? This was, like, the
Fresh
beginning of it
off the
all?
train, like on my
So,
way, like getting hyped up. This was like the first photo I took.
what's interesting about the picture to me is it does have a lot of kind of anticipation almost. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of excitement in it because
Yeah.
the if you look at the movement's kind of going forward. It's almost like you're going with the picture, and plus, once you mention that you're in Grand Central Station, there's always, like, that kinda rush that you get when you walk out into that really bright light that comes right outside of
Yeah.
there. It's like,
Yeah.
here's New
Yeah.
York." It's a cool state. That's the station that when you come in from Connecticut, that's the station that you go into all the time, isn't it? Grand Central.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
that's your
I
home
think it's
station.
I think it's cool that I probably took like hundreds of photos that day, and this was the first, and it's probably my favorite the whole day.
Sometimes it's always the first. You get it right the
Like
first
I
time,
could have gotten back on the
right?
train and just come home.
Yeah, I got the picture where our work is done here. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Great shot. Thank you very much for sharing that. Let's go to this next one. Make this one just a little bit bigger. Okay. Hey, so what can you tell us about this one, Sarah?
That is my son, and he is at Hudson Yards. This is right by the vessel, the big sculpture. And we were coming from Comic-Con, and we were just kind of eating dinner and hanging out, and the sun was setting and I was just playing with my camera, and really just playing with angles and silhouettes, and I love how it came out.
And if you were to see that silhouette of your son, you can almost instantly pick out that it's him, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this was taken actually with a flash. So I think that's kind of what's lighting up that handrail there.
I like how the handrail is lit up like that.
Mm. I
And the
like the
fact,
shape. I like
yeah, the
all the
shape, there are lots of cool shapes, and it almost looks like a keyhole with your son in the middle of it. And it's interesting
mm,
that you mentioned that you
yeah.
guys are at Comic Con too, because it has kind of a, now that you mention it though, it kind of has a like kind of a comic book feel if you think about it. Like
Oh yeah.
look at the way that like you're kind of
Like
looking through it,
Batman could
like,
be perched
yeah,
up
it's like you're
there.
looking at the hero through the keyhole or something like that.
Oh yeah,
The
you went deep with
superhero.
that. I like that.
Cool shot. Thanks very much for sharing that. Let's take a look at the next one. I love the chaos of this one. What can you tell us about this shot?
This is in the Lower East Side, which is a neighborhood I adore shooting in. It's always kind of fun and a little chaotic. And I was walking in the rain and really slow shutter speed and just having fun with the black and white, the Daido Moriyama kind of aesthetic. And these women are like super fashionable, super sexy, super Lower East Side vibe, and I just love how it came out. I love the patterns. I love how the patterns of her clothes kind of go with the street patterns. I love the cars and the movement in the background. It just like you could almost feel, I think, the city and the movement in it.
It does have a very, what is it, Lower East Side? Is that what it was?
Hmm. Hmm.
Has that kind of feel to it with especially with the zebra crossing. And I really love the like the one, I think to the left there, she's got kind of a double face, which is really interesting the
Yeah,
way that that looks. And then the
yeah.
face of the other girls, actually, the faces came out really cool, um, in an abstract way. I love how it's almost like a meeting of abstract art and photography, which is very difficult to do, by the way. I've tried shots like these, and when I see a shot like this that works, it always is really amazing to me because I can never shoot like this. I always fail. So well done.
No, it's really just like an accident. You just like slow down the shutter speed and have a lot of happy accidents. But it's like
Well,
there's a poetry to it. Like you're taking what's real and what's there and you're making it a little more abstract. You're kind of altering it in a accidental way, which is beautiful.
well done. Thank you very much, Sarah. Let's go to the next one here.
So this was taken in Astoria with a flash, and I the exposure was completely blown out, and I had to make it black and white and edit it to kind of make it so you could even see what was going on. But I love the story of why this man caught my attention, and that is that I have been healing my Lyme disease for almost 4 years now with a frog medicine called Combo, and um, it's a secretion from a tree frog in the Amazon that you administer, and it makes you purge, and it's helped me immensely. And so I was going through a period where I was trying to decide if I wanted to become certified to serve this medicine myself. And so right before I went for this photo walk, I kind of connected with the frog spirit and asked, and I said, if I'm meant to learn to be certified to do this, then show me a sign. So I went for a photo walk in Astoria, Queens, and this man came out of a bodega and huge neck tattoo of the exact same species of frog which I work with, which is the Philomedusa bicolor tree frog on his neck. So he's my sign. And so I was like, dude, I have to take your photo. You're my sign. And he was very nice. And I took it. And I just love it for that reason.
That's really cool backstory. And the other thing that I like about it is like he's like, "Yeah, check out my frog." But you know, if you get
Mhm.
a tattoo on your neck like that, you know that everybody wants to take your picture. And I've have you no, but this is a serious question. Have you ever had anybody turn you down?
No, no, yeah, you're right, you're
They
right.
always really kind of want their because I think that there's kind of like they're in love with the fact that they have that. Because you must be because you got
He
it
also
there,
was
you
in
know?
love with frogs. He was really into frogs, and he was very proud to tell me about. He has pet frogs, he has pet snakes, and he told me all about them. He literally took out his phone and was showing me pictures of them. So yeah, he absolutely was like, yeah.
I like that guy, especially if he's into
Yeah,
frogs and snakes.
yeah, yeah. He
Well
was
done.
great.
Cool shot. Thank you for sharing. All right, so what can you tell us about these lovely ladies?
So I went to the Pride Parade this year, and it was, as I mentioned, super hot, like crazy 100-degree humid weather. And after being out all day shooting, I kind of was getting heat exhaustion. And so I was trying to stumble back to my ex-husband's apartment where I could get to some air conditioning. And I was just like almost ready to black out, like wobbling, kind of not even walking straight, not having any energy, really lightheaded, and like not even sure I was going to make it. I was like, I'm definitely going to pass out and go to the hospital probably. And these women kind of called me over, and they were so wonderful, and they were just like, "You're so beautiful." And they're like, "Come talk to us." And I was like, "You're so beautiful." And we just kind of like complimented each other back and forth and just like had this really good exchange, and I took their picture, and they kind of just gave me the energy I needed to get to some air conditioning and recover. But the photo itself is not the best photo. My settings were really off. The shutter speed is like way too slow. The woman in the middle is blurry. So technically it's not a great photo, but the fact that it's blurry and like my headspace was very blurry at the time, I think is pretty cool. Like I probably was seeing blurry. My lens, me as the lens, was very blurry at the time. So I guess that's how I saw it.
Great backstory. And those ladies do look like really fun ladies to talk to.
And you know, like there's something about classic like street photography in New York City, like the Helen Levitt kind of like finding people on a stoop is so you know, like how can you not take an awesome picture of like people hanging on a stoop in New York City?
Nothing like a good stoop shot. Thank you very much. So what can you tell us about this shot right here, Sarah?
So I was in Astoria, Queens, which is this was my first time in this neighborhood. So I was not familiar with the neighborhood, and walking alone at night to my car. So had a little anxiety, had my camera, but and like I didn't really I knew where I was going, but I didn't know if that was a good street, if that was a good neighborhood. I really didn't know too much about where I was. I just knew I was walking home from a photo walk with a bunch of people, and I was walking back by myself. And I saw these two people that were clearly on something, very drunk. They were just like a little bit out of it, making a lot of commotion. And so like I was a little nervous, but then suddenly like something I was just like I really need to go take their photos. So I just kind of like, you know, got brave and ran over to them and started taking like full flash, like I was flashing in their faces. Just taking photos of them, and they kind of got into it. And I think I don't know if they're like devil worshippers or not. Those balloons are three sixes. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what they were up to. They had some 666 balloons. They're hanging out under the train, um, in a dark street in Queens. I don't know what was going on. It was a very interesting scene, but I totally vibed with them. They were really cool. I ended up asking them to take their picture and then they posed for some. This one was not posed. This was when I just kind of walked up and started shooting. Um, Also, my settings were, not what I had planned, but it was a happy accident. I really like how it's kind of blurred and gritty.
I like the expression on the person's face on the right, and then I
He looks like
also
a
like
ghost,
he
right?
does, or that person does, and also the balloons, the way that they're kind of blurry like that, it looks almost like a Chinese dragon or something. I love the
Yeah,
way
I
that
mean,
those balloons look.
there's a lot of questions. You would never guess the story of what actually happened.
They don't look like balloons. I thought when you first showed this to me, I thought that okay, that's like a Chinese dragon or something. And it still looks like a dragon to me. I can't, I can see. Oh yeah, well maybe that's a balloon or something. But I love the way that and were they like shiny balloons? Was that what?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice,
absolutely.
nice.
I'm not sure what kind of celebration you bring 666 balloons to, but they're on their way there, I think.
Too bad Motley Crue wasn't around. We could ask them 'cause they did that song "Sign of the Devil," right? Or was it
Yeah, I don't
Shout
know.
at the Devil"? Shout at the Devil. I got that wrong.
I really liked those people though. They were fun.
That's awesome shot. Thank you very much for sharing that. Let's take a look at the next one here. Here's some girls. What can you tell us about these young ladies, Sarah?
This is a strawberry festival in Long Island, and it's one that I've gone to my whole life. My dad used to take me there, and now I take my kids there. And as I was leaving, I saw these girls, and there's just something, I think, really innocent and wholesome about it. Like the whole fair itself is wholesome, but then like something about these girls was just extremely wholesome. I think I love this picture. It's like there's a lot of arms and legs and like lankiness and angles, but then it's like chaotic and messy, just like any tween girl. But then it's also just like so sweet.
Does that remind you of your childhood at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think I could be any one of those four girls.
That's the thing about it is you when you look at the different expressions that are going on, you can kind of imagine. I can imagine my daughter is doing the same kind of things. All sitting
Right?
together like that. So it's even nostalgic for me, and I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I love those pigs' heads that are down there, like the masks or whatever those are, or the stuffed
Do you
animals.
see the one girl who's holding like the goldfish? It's just like it's so wholesome. Like everything about it. Like
I never
she won
noticed
a
that goldfish.
goldfish.
That's amazing. She's got a goldfish. How lucky.
And the girl next to her has like the scraped knee. I mean, everything about it is like universal, like tween girl childhood, I think.
I tell you, when you got a goldfish when you were a kid, that was a good day.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was
Like she must be
amazing.
so excited. Like they're leaving the fair. They just had the best time.
And they got a goldfish. Yes.
Yeah. And a pig
And a pig
and a scraped
and
knee.
strawberries.
Right.
Great shot. Thank you very much, Sarah. Let's take a look at the next one here. New York City.
So this is Washington Square Park, and it's taken under the arch. This is a skateboarder, and I took a picture that was much wider, that had the arch in it, had the skateboard in it, and I cropped it because what I love about being able to see the details close up is like again another neck tattoo. This guy's neck tattoo is like it's like he's been clawed. There's like something very like raw and warrior like here. And he's got like the broken wrist. He's like listening to some music. You imagine it's like, hyping him up to skateboard. It's got like this classic New York City backdrop. And like that totally represents like determination and hustle. I think it all just comes together. It's like a good vibe.
Makes me want to hop on a skateboard, that shot.
And like listen to some, like
The,
really
Beast,
hyped up
the
music,
Beastie
right?
Boys or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yes, exactly.
You wonder it'd be interesting to be able to go and ask that guy what he's listening to, but you might be disappointed. It might be something that's like, "Oh, okay." You know,
Nah, I'm guessing with this guy, I wouldn't be disappointed.
great shot. Yeah, if
Thank
he's
you.
skating, he's probably listening to something pretty cool. You're right.
He's like skating with like he had a bad fall. He broke his arm. He's still skating.
And what can you tell us about the Pokey Bar girl?
Mm. This was a bit of a happy accident photo as well. I did not see the people. It's a layered photo, but I wasn't aware of the back layer when I took the photo. It
So
was
let me ask
something
you real
that,
quick on that. So when you took the photo, were you taking the photo chiefly to kind of do like a street portrait of her walking by?
yeah, I think so. I was walking with another street photographer and we were moving kind of fast at that time. And I think what I liked was like that her mask matched her clothes. I think it was just like the colors maybe caught my eye. I took the shot, later was editing and looked at it, and I saw that there was a really interesting layer that brings up multiple very interesting stories.
With the
I
girl
think,
staring off into space.
yeah, I mean, I love it. Like, you can go so many places with this. You can you can tell a story about there being a couple that's not content, and then this woman who's like sovereign and independent, and she looks pretty happy and free. Like the dichotomy there. You can tell a story about relationships. You can tell a story about women. Is there there's a lot of places you could go with this photo, which I love.
Yeah, it's very. There are a lot of layers, and there's a lot of different way. When I look at the, it almost makes you wonder like this. If I put it this way, like I wonder if it almost speaks to how we're even alone when we're with everybody, because everybody's kind of looking in their own direction. So she's looking in
Mm.
her own
Mm,
direction. He's
yeah.
looking in his own direction. She's looking in her own direction. And I'm guessing that they're a couple, but they're still looking in different directions.
Yeah, they've all got their own story. They're all the main character in a
Great
way.
shot. Plus, it's a poke bar.
Yeah.
Good
I mean, they
stuff.
should just be looking at their poke bowls, right?
That's right. Eyes to home and hands to home. Hands to the poke bowl. That's a great place. I've eaten there before. I like that restaurant. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. I think that this is the keystone photo of the
I
group.
love this one. Yeah. These are my sons. Well, two of my three sons. And this is on land that used to be my grandfather's potato farm in Long Island. And it's obviously not a street shot, but it is candid. And I love the high contrast black and white. I love the expressions. I love that there's a couple stories you could come up with here. It's nostalgic for me. It's just like it's a beautiful shot, I think.
Yeah, I love the way that it's framed. And it also looks like, some shots, this one needed to be black and white in my mind, but it also looks like a shot that would be great printed. Like this would look really
Mm.
cool on the wall, maybe like behind the couch or something, like in a large print a bit.
I, I think I should print it out. Yeah.
And I like the fact that your one son is looking off into the distance, sitting on a chair, and then your other son's kind of looking to you. Is there any story about the chair or anything like that?
Yeah. So my grandfather used to take a chair, and he would go and sit there. And like I remember one time when his brother died, that was like the thing he did. Like he took a chair, we like went out there and sat there and just like stared off into the field. Like that's just I don't. And then my son just kind of like naturally did the same, which is beautiful.
Fantastic shot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, I really appreciate you sharing your 10 with me this evening, Sarah. It was interesting to hear and see what you came up with. I'm pretty familiar with your work, and it's when I look at people's work, I kind of think like, okay, well, maybe if I was to pick their 10, I would pick this and that. And I knew going in this, you'd probably have a photo of your kids in there because you love taking pictures of your kids. I do the same thing too, though. And those pictures are always very special to us. And I think that one at the end was a really fantastic shot. I really enjoyed going through all those
Thank
pictures with
you.
you. So thanks so much for your time this evening and all the effort and the like you said, it was a little bit difficult picking out the 10. I appreciate you taking the time to do so.
Thank you, Todd. I'm honored that you would even ask me on to ask me about 10 of my photos. I really appreciate it. It was fun. Thank you.
My pleasure.